Assalamu alaikum and welcome to the 7th session of commentary on Dua Arafah of Imam Hussein alayhi salam. Last session we spoke about shukr and how shukr is a real state in which the person sees the world in a different way, sees the reality of the world, the beauty, the blessings of God, and as a direct and natural outcome of this experience, of this witnessing the beauty of the world, the inner state of shukr and gratitude happens for them. So that was our discussion on shukr yesterday, and I hope I emphasized enough on the fact that shukr is an inner state, right? If inside we're not in a good place, even the best thing can happen outside, but we don't see its beauty. Whereas inside, if we change as a result of our communication with God, as a result of our growth, then we will have a kind of inner state, an inner eye that we can look at the world and see the enormous amount of blessings that are there for us, the unconditional love that the universe and its creator have for us. So it's very much dependent on what is our inner state. And of course, this is very clear because a lot of the times it happens that even though the outside world seems to be very good, if inside we're not feeling good, if the inner environment is not very all right, we're not going to enjoy it. And if we can't enjoy it, then obviously gratitude will not follow, because gratitude is the natural result of the pleasure inside. And inshallah, we're going to continue on this, the inner environment and the external life, in today's session. So let's start today's passage from Dua Arafah. But before that, let me say a special salam alaikum to everyone who has joined us live, and of course those who will watch later on either on Instagram or YouTube. Thank you so much for joining. And today, inshallah, we're going to read one of the most important passages of Dua Arafah. One of the most important in terms of the prescription it has for our spiritual growth. Otherwise, all of the discussions we've had so far, learned from Imam Hussein alayhi salam, has been very beautiful. Assalamu alaikum, wa alaikum salam, salam alaikum, and alaikum the hand as well. Someone sent the hand icon. Very lovely. Okay, let's begin. Bismillah ar-Rahman ar-Rahim. This passage starts with Imam saying, Allahumma ja'alni akhshak ka'anni arak. Allahumma ja'alni akhshak ka'anni arak. Oh God, enable me to have khashiyat of you as if I am seeing you. And unfortunately, now we have to open a bracket, because often when we get to this part, the translations are wrong, that now we have to open a bracket, fix the translation, then come back to our discussion again. A lot of people have translated khashiyat as being scared of God. But if you remember, one of the maybe main themes of our discussions in previous series and even in this series has been, if there is one being in the world that is not scary, that we should not be scared from, is God. So to translate khashiyat as being scared of God is, I think, very wrong. It's very wrong, and I will try to prove this from the Quran. So the first part of our discussion today would be, I'll try to prove to you from the Quran that khashiyat does not mean being scared of God, and I think being scared of God is a very incorrect sentiment. Now, how do they translate this usually? Oh God, enable me to be scared of you as if I'm seeing you. So the idea probably is that right now a lot of people are not scared of God, and if they were seeing God, they would be scared of him. So Imam Hussein is asking, oh God, enable me to be scared of you as if I'm seeing you. And I want to say that this is wrong. Khashiyat is not to be scared. One of the evidences we have about this in the Quran is that in the Quran we have this verse that it says only those people will have khashiyat of God who have high knowledge. إنما يخشى من الله يخشى الله من عباده العلماء. إنما يخشى الله من عباده العلماء. Only the people who have high knowledge, ulama, not ulama like we call everyone an alim, no, like real, like a great personality, right, will have khashiyat of God. Whereas now we know that being scared of God has nothing to do with people's spirituality or their knowledge. I know a lot of people who are unfortunately, due to their incorrect religious education, are extremely scared of God. To the extent that it is causing anxiety to them, to the extent that it's causing to them all sorts of barriers for them to go and communicate with God, have discussions with God. So they're already scared of God, and it has nothing to do, when you look at it, to their ilm, because in the sense, إِنَّمَا يَخْشَى اللَّهُ مِنْ عِبَادِهِ الْعُلَمَاء. No, normal person, this person, that person, very scared of God, unfortunately, due to their incorrect religious education. And this has really harmed them, very much harmed them. Now, let's look at a few more verses, and I will come back to this idea of how religious education sometimes harms us, right? Because it gives the person a wrong idea of God, and you can't fix it. The person becomes 20 years old, 30 years old, still all they have in their mind is this, cruel God, that if you make one mistake, will punish you. Don't do this, God won't love it. Don't do this, God will stop loving you. Whereas we saw in Dua Arafah that all of this is wrong. لَمْ يَمْنَعْكَ جَهْلِي وَجُرْأَتِي عَلَى أَنْ دَلَّلْتَنِي إِلَى مَا يُقَرِّبُنِي. Like Imam Hussein said, God, none of my mistakes will stop you from loving me and wanting me to be close to you, right? So a lot of this religious education, unfortunately, is scoring own goals. Okay. Quranic proofs for why khashya is not being scared. We have this verse in the Quran, إِنَّمَا أَنْتَ مُنْذِرُ مَنْ يَخْشَاهَا, right? So, messenger, go only warn those people, warn about the consequences of their actions, etc., who have khashya of the hereafter. Man yakhshaha. Innama anta munziru man yakhshaha. If khashya meant being scared, then what was the point of warning the person who's already scared? Right? And this is the point that Allama Tabatabai also makes in Tafsir al-Mizan. He says khashya here cannot mean being scared. Because otherwise, what's the point of going to telling someone who already is scared that you have to be careful about the hereafter? So he means khashya here does not mean being scared. It only means those who are mindful, those who have the concern of hereafter in this context. So khashya so far means what? Being concerned about something, being mindful of something. And another verse we have in the Quran that says the result of khashya leads to pleasure of God, being pleased with God. Where do we have this? Radiyallahu anhum. There are a group of people who God is happy with them, and waradu anh, they are happy with God. They're pleased with God. They're satisfied with God. Why? ذَلَكَ لِمَنْ خَشِيَ رَبَّهُ. These are the people who have khashya, right? So it's a state, it's a quality that leads to the person being happy with God, a mutual relationship of being pleased, of love, right? رَضِيَ اللَّهُ عَنْهُمْ وَرَضُوا عَنْهُ. So it definitely, with all of these different verses I gave you, it clearly means that it's not to be scared. It does not mean to be scared. Imam Hussein here doesn't mean, God, make me scared of you. Why? If you've been following us, it doesn't go well with the current of the dua at all. In the dua, we're saying, God, you took care of me before I was even born. Then you helped me be born. Then you made my parents loving to me. You gave me milk. You did this for me. You did that for me. Thank you so much. If I want to count your blessings, I can't. Literal words of Imam Hussein. Then afterwards, why would he say, now suddenly make me scared of you? It does not make sense. It does not make sense. What is there about God that is scary? If there's one being in the world that there's nothing there to be scary, it's God. It's unconditional beauty. It's absolute love, absolute beauty. What is there to be scared of? And we brought proof from the Quran that this is wrong. So what does khashya mean? Khashya mean, I believe, of course, it's a state again. So we can't go to the bottom of it right now. But if you want to report what it means, as Allama Tabatabai said, it's a kind of being concerned with someone. And in the context of God, the verses show us that to have khashyat of God is to see God's hand behind the universe. Do you remember the discussion we had about the pen? Like someone's writing the calligraphy. You can either think, oh, the pen is writing calligraphy, or come a level higher and say, no, the hand is writing calligraphy, the hand is using the pen. Or you can come a level higher and say, no, it's not even the hand. It's this person. It's this soul inside that is writing the calligraphy. The same is true with the world. You can either look at this world and see, for example, this person is teaching me, giving a lecture. This person is giving me knowledge. Or you can look beyond and say, no, it's God speaking to me, for example, through this person. Or it's my mom showing me love, or going a level higher and say, no, it's God showing me love through my mother. As Imam Hussein said in the beginning of Dua Arafah, if you remember, right? He said, God, it was you who made my parents show love to me, right? So calligraphy pen, either it's the pen or the hand or the person writing calligraphy in the world as well. Either it's our parents showing love to us, which is true, but when you look at the world from a lens higher, you see, oh my God, it was God who made my parents loving to me. Right? So khashiyah of Allah, I think it's this, to be able to look at the world and see God behind everything. And this is why in some of the verses we have that don't have khashiyat of people, don't have khashiyat of nas. Like one of the qualities of the prophets is this: don't have khashiyat of people, they have khashiyat of God. It doesn't mean that they're not scared of people, they're scared of God. No. It means that they don't see people as the ultimate forces behind things, and they see God as the ultimate force behind things. Okay? Now, a natural result of not seeing people as the ultimate force is you're not scared of them, obviously. Like, for example, you're in a dangerous situation. If you think this person in front of you, the enemy, is the ultimate force, there's no power higher, you may get scared. But as soon as you see, no, I'm not going to have khashiyat of you, I'm not going to see you as the highest power, I'm going to connect to the higher source, which is even above you, then I'm no longer scared of you. But that doesn't mean now I have to be scared of God. No, because God is not scary. In fact, رَضِيَ اللَّهُ عَنْهُمْ وَرَضُوا عَنْهُ. So once you don't have khashiyat of people, you're not scared of them, and once you have khashiyat of God, it comes with pleasure, not with being scared. Why is it that khashiyat of people leads to being scared? Because people are not loving to us. People are not loving to us. People don't have the unconditional love that God has, right? God is our Rabb, God is our protector, God is our guardian, He took care of us, He loves us more than our parents. So if He's in charge, there's nothing to be scared of. But if people are in charge, there's loads to be scared of. What if they get mad at me? What if they don't like the way I look? What if we've had a bad history, right? Also, what if they get jealous of me? For all these reasons, they can harm me. Okay? So a khashiyat of people leads to being scared of them, but khashiyat of God does not lead to be scared of Him. So, nothing to be scared of God. Now, Allahumma ij'alni akhshak ka'anni arak. Hello, we said it doesn't mean to be scared, and we kind of explained what it means, Allahumma ij'alni akhshak. Oh God, enable me to have khashiyat of you as if I can see you. Now, as you can see, the meaning is very beautiful and it makes total sense. It doesn't mean God make me scared. Rather, it says, oh God, enable me to at all the moments be mindful of the fact that whatever is happening, you are in charge of it. You are the hidden hand behind everything. And enable me to feel this reality so strong as if I could actually see you do all of these things. Like, did we remember we said in the case of our, even when our mothers breastfed us, God says it was me behind it. I loved you so much, I put the milk and the love in your mother so that you get fed, right? But we didn't see God doing this. All we saw was our mother. Now Imam Hussein says, God, Allahumma ja'alni akhshak ka'anni arak, as if I had even seen you were the one who was doing that, right? So this is what it means. We mentioned these are all the things you did for us, oh Allah. Now enable me to feel them more, as if I'm actually seeing your hidden hand, like doing these things, you know? So this is what khashiyat means, and as you can see, it's very beautiful. Another beautiful point about this line, this is, as I said, perhaps one of the most important line of the dua, is that it says ka'anni arak, as if I'm seeing you. I want to experience the real God. Why do I want to experience the real God? Because anything short of the real God is man-made. There is a God, and there is our idea, our understanding of God. This one, our understanding of God, is our creation. It's the creation of our mind, right? And as a result of it, it has a lot of shortcomings. And that's why a lot of the times they tell us to say, subhanallah, subhanallah, God is way higher than our understanding of him, right? God is loving, unconditional, all of that. But the God they told us sometimes gets angry, is waiting for you to punish you sometimes, unfortunately. You know, the kind of things that they told us about God, pray or God will get upset with you. And sometimes I even see people out of their love, out of their good intention, but the way they speak about God is so wrong. Like they say, you know what, God is like a jealous partner. You know, if he sees you're loving someone else, he gets upset. Are you seriously? Are you seriously saying that? Like you're turning God into a petty, jealous partner that, like, if he sees you loving someone else, like, oh, I don't like you anymore. Or you know, these kind of things that they say. Or you didn't pray, God is upset. God did all of this for you. You're not going to thank him, as if God needs our thanking. Imam Hussein says all of these are the result of our mind. We've made this God that is petty, that's waiting for you to thank him or he'll get upset, or waiting for you to worship him or he'll be like, oh, they didn't worship me today, right? Imam Hussein says, Subhanak, Subhanak, min all of this. Allahumma jalni akhshak yani arak. I want to see the real you, not the fake you, right? So there's a lot of fake news about God. Now, we're just beginning the discussion, but it's already been, I think, around 20 minutes. Let's continue a little bit more, because our discussions is, inshallah, I want to finish this passage from Dua Arafah, okay? خب, Imam says now something which actually supports what I was just saying. وَأَسْعِدْنِي بِتَقْوَاكَ وَلَا تُشْقِنِي بِمَعْصِيَتِكَ. Very beautiful. Imam says, oh God, so make me happy, make me fortunate, make me prosperous, Sa'id, right? Sa'id, through taqwa, through having taqwa of you. I'll explain taqwa again, what it means. وَلَا تُشْقِنِي بِمَعْصِيَتِكَ. And do not let me have a bad life, become shaqi, an unfortunate life, through disobeying you. And again here, Imam Hussein is giving us a very beautiful formula, which is, and I've shouted this a million times, we really need to make this paradigm shift. None of the worships we do or the things that God said don't do, none of these are for God. Every single one of us is for us. And when I say it's for us, I mean it has to make the experience of our life better, more pleasant. And that's why a lot of the times I say, if we've been praying for 10 years, 15 years, and as a result of it, we haven't changed, that means we haven't really been praying. That needs to be fixed. But unfortunately, a lot of the times people don't care. They think they're praying for God, so whether it changes them or not, it's okay. They read Dua Arafah, they don't care. Well, as a result of this, you have to change. As a result of fasting, you have to change. If it's not fun, if you don't see that it's making your life better, if it feels like a burden, then that is not Islam. That is not religion. You have to throw that away and relearn everything. This is a very important paradigm shift. Will anyone ever say, for example, that having water is difficult, or there's burden in it, or I don't know why I should do it? No, because we see how it's helping us. Religion has to be like that, and every single wajib has to be like that, and every single haram we have to know that it's harmful for us, every single one. And if it's not that way, it's our shortcoming. And we have to change that. We have to change that. So my belief, and Imam Hussein is confirming this here for us, وَأَسْعِدْنِي بِتَقْوَاكَ, having taqwa of God to lead to a better life. You should feel sa'id. And disobeying God should, leads to. But often, a lot of the times now, we feel like life would have been easier without some of the wajibat. Any wajibat without which we feel life would have been easier, it means we're doing it wrong. Not my say, Imam Hussein. So, that's that. And again, another thing which upsets me is that in the translation, وَأَسْعِدْنِي بِالتَّقْوَى, taqwa of God has been translated again as fear. So the whole dua, they want to read it as fear. The translation was saying, Allahumma ja'alni akhshak, oh God, make me scared of you as if I see you. And then it said, وَأَسْعِدْنِي بِالتَّقْوَى, and help me with your fear. I'm like, how? Why do you love fear so much? Taqwa doesn't mean fear. Taqwa means mindfulness of God. Taqwa means God consciousness, awareness of God, right? You don't need to be scared of God. You just need to communicate with Him. And then, as a result of this communication, something amazing happens. But I think it's better to stop now, right? Because should we stop, by the way? They get people who are watching later on won't get a decision, won't get a say. But those who are watching live, should we continue or should we stop here? Because we need maybe 5 to 10 minutes to explain the next point. It's again very beautiful. So if you could just let me know in the comment section, should we continue or should we stop here? No, yes, carry on. Okay, carry on. Okay. Continue. Okay, thank you so much for your support. Imagine if you said, Sheikh, that's enough. Stop it right now. Leave your house and we don't want to see you again. That would have been a very sad moment for me, but I could have. Okay, let's go to the next stage. Enough of that. Imam says, okay, once you help me, oh God, to have taqwa of you, which is to be mindful of you, to be conscious of you. And now imagine, we've got khashya as well. And we've got taqwa now. Khashya was what? God, I want to see your hand behind everything. God, you're telling me that every single person in my life who loved me was actually you showing love to me through them. I want to see that. I want to feel that. And once I felt that, once I have that khashya, then I want to have taqwa. Why would I stop talking to someone who's showing this much love to me? So I want to keep my communication with you. So taqwa is this constant communication with God. If you're doing all of this for me, well, I want to be direct communication with you. I want to have you. I want to talk to you. I don't want to forget you, right? So at this point, we see that it is very obvious that a communication with God should lead to calmness, to peace, to feeling loved, connected. It's something desirable, as-sa'idni. Now, when all of this happens, what is the quality which comes in us? Imam Hussein alayhi salam says, حَتَّى لَا أُحِبَّ تَعْجِيلَ مَا أَخَّرْتَ وَلَا تَأْخِيرَ مَا عَجَّلْتَ. Once this happens, then I will have this quality that I no longer want to rush the things. That you think it's better if they come later, right? So if God, with all of this love, you've decided that something is better if it happens for me later, maybe after 3 years, maybe after 4 years, right? Now, with this trust that I have of you, the fact that I am seeing your loving hand in my life, now I can say, okay, God, if you think if in a few years it's better, then now I can be content with this, right? Or if I want something to happen later and you want it to happen now, then I'm okay with that because I trust you. But again, as I said, this is not something that you and we can immediately expect of ourselves in the first day. No, this is a maqam. This is a level that comes after your heart is fully assured of God's love. Once the relationship is there, once the love is there, once the trust is built, once you've seen God taking care of you through thick and thin, in this and that, in this situation, that situation, then afterwards, God seems to have a plan. But not just this, there's another thing that can contribute to this, and Imam Hussein himself immediately says, which if you remember was also the topic of our spiritual healing series. And that is maybe one of the most important lines that you can use now in your dua, in your qunut. You can say this. It's beautiful. Allahumma aj'al qinaya fi nafsi. Oh God, give me the thing, qina, which gives me peace and brings me joy and calmness. Make that to be my own self, within me. Fi nafsi, within me. What does that mean? If you remember, we spoke about in the spiritual healing series about ultimately what we want is a good experience of life, right? But most of us, the way we do that is we try to change the external world in order to feel better, right? So for example, if we have, I don't know, if we have neighbors who annoy us, like we have an attached house. We've got a door-to-door neighbor, and it annoys us. And we find it difficult to go and talk to them, say, no, this thing you're doing is annoying me. Instead of trying to find a way, find the confidence to go and talk to them, what is the easy way out? We're like, oh my God, I wish I can be rich so I can buy a house that has no door-to-door neighbor, like it's a detached house, right? Or there are so many things that we're jealous of someone. Let's say I'm a speaker. I see another speaker is doing better than me. Instead of fixing this, I'm like, you know what? I should get to a place where my lectures get more views than that lecturer, right? So we're trying to fix something inside with external issues, changing the external world so that internal issues are fixed, right? And if you think about it, most of our energy in life is spent in changing the external world, getting a bigger house, getting this car, which is nothing wrong with it all. The problem is if we do these things in order to avoid an issue which has an easier solution, right? If, for example, I only want a bigger house because my friend just bought one, but I was happy with mine, and now it means that I have to work harder, see my family less in order to just have a car that my friend has. Well, that is trying to really change the life you wanted. You wanted to spend more time with your family, but now you have to work harder to make the... All of this is changing the external world to be happy. Whereas Imam Hussein says, no, God, I want my happiness and inner peace to come from within. Yes, in the external world, I may even have an amazing life, but I don't want to depend on that. Right? At the end of the day, I want my peace and happiness come from within. Allahumma aj'al ghinaya fi nafsi. And here Ayatollah Jawadi makes a very beautiful point, the difference between ghani and mustaghni. Ghani is a person who feels great inside. Mustaghni is a person who needs other things in order to feel good, right? A ghani person can be on its own, but will never feel lonely, right? A ghani person can not have so many things be okay, have many things be okay. The love is already there, From within, they have found that connection to God. Unconditional love and energy, everything is coming to them, so they don't need the external world to give them energy. Because if you think about it, ultimately, everything that we do outside is going to change us inside to make us happy. If it's not translated inside, right? Like even the best car, why is it good? Because when we sit inside, we feel good. So ultimately, the great thing is inside. Now we either find the unconditional, that infinite source of energy from inside, open it up and it's always there, or we need to keep looking for things outside to bring some energy in. That's mustaghni, this is ghani. And Imam Hussein says, God, make me among this group, the one whose energy is from within, from this unconditional and direct communication with God. They always feel loved. Now, in the Quran, it says, إِنَّ الْإِنسَانَ لَيَطْغَى أَنْ رَآهُ اسْتَغْنَى. The one who wants to live with istaghna by changing the external world, layatgha, will do crazy things. Why? Because let's say I don't feel loved inside, right? Let's say I don't feel loved. My sense of inner worth, my love, my energy is not coming from outside. What do I have to do? I have to get it from you. I have to become friends with you or fall in love with you, get energy from you, right? Now, so far, no problem. But what happens if you stop giving it to me? Or if you become friends with someone else? Now, my energy, my well-being, my self-worth depended on this friendship. And now you're going to become friends with someone else? I have to find a way to stop that. I have to bring you back. And what does this do? This leads to me becoming a cruel oppressor, controlling, right? I become controlling. Who are you talking to? Do you love them more than me? Do you love your mother more than me? You know? All of these controlling oppressor behavior becomes why? Because something very important in me, which is my self-worth, my feeling love, depends on your behavior. Right? So in Quran says, إِنَّ الْإِنسَانَ لَيَطْغَى أَن رَآهُ اسْتَغْنَى. If your inner well-being depends on external forces, you end up doing nasty things. But Imam Hussein says, God, can my inner well-being be from the inside? Can I feel this unconditional love? Like, imagine the love you want to get from someone is always there. You always feel love. You always feel energy. Now, you can even have relationships, but much more beautiful. Now, when we go to have relationships, I no longer go so that you take care of me. You make me feel loved. You make me feel good. No, I already feel great. I already feel loved. I come to you so I can share my love with you. So even if you decide that you don't want to be friends with me anymore and you leave me, I won't hurt you. I won't stop you. I won't do layatra. I'm not going to be oppressing. I'm not going to be controlling, right? Because I only came to share love with you. If you don't want it, that's fine, right? I no longer depend on some very fundamental things on you. And as a result of that, many things would be solved. So this is what Imam Hussein says. Oh God, Allahumma aj'al ghinaya fi nafsi. Right? So unconditional love, energy, happiness, bliss, peace, everything comes from within, from this. Inshallah, if you want more of this, we've discussed this more on the spiritual healing series. And now when this happens, it becomes easier again to do the previous line, which was what? God, give me the power not to rush for the changes in the outside world, right? In the outside world, God may feel like, okay, it may be better for me to have something maybe in 3 years. Maybe now it's not the time. If my peace is from within, it would be much easier for me to accept that fate, right? And I won't rush it. Because sometimes in order to rush it, we end up doing mistakes or things which we know we're better than, you know? So we end up making mistakes. But once the peace comes from inner environment, as opposed to changing the external environment, then we don't feel like we have to rush it that much. And of course, we can still have a beautiful life even externally, but we will no longer depend on it for our self-worth, for our feeling loved and all of that. And I think that we need to stop. And I hope you enjoyed this session. Allahumma aj'al ghinaya fi nafsi. Until tomorrow, inshallah. Take care. Remember us in your du'as.